This little memory piece was written December 30th of 2016. It's not a memory of a Christmas in the parish, but it was written in the 12 days of Christmas for the January 2017 issue of the parish newsletter. Ghosts of Christmas Past. As many of you know, I maintain a home upstate, though I don't spend as much time there as I might like. This year was only the second time in more than 45 years that Thanksgiving dinner was not eaten there. Last Christmas was the only time in my entire life that I did not spend any part of the 12 days of Christmas in the house. My mother was the last full-time resident of the house, apart from the dog. She had lived there for 5 years following my sister's death. After Mom died, I used to call it Choco's house, my dog being the surviving occupant. Now he too is gone. In the first few years that the house was mine, spending time there was very melancholy. Most everything was, and much still is, exactly where my mother had left it. Usually my stays are brief and with little time to get much done. Time has stopped there in a way. Many of her clothes are still there. The living room is still pretty much the way it was in December 2009 when my mother said, "Goodbye, house." We'd spent Christmas in Kingston with the family before coming back to Long Island, where Mom intended to stay for the rest of the winter. But that was her final goodbye to the house where, with her husband of 44 years, she had her children and lived for 57 years. Her forever house. Recalling her voice, I say, "Hello, house," and "Goodbye, house" myself each time I arrive and leave. Silly, of course. What does a house know about my comings and goings? I suppose in some ways it's a greeting not to the house, but to the memory of my mother, sister, father, who lived there and whose memory is enshrined there for me every bit as much as it is in the cemetery where they now rest. That was indeed a part of the melancholy of going there. It was a haunted house. Not in the things that go bump in the night sense, since I don't believe in those kind of ghosts. It isn't the haunting of a presence at all. It's the haunting absence that plays on the emotions. It was true even when my mother and sister were there after Dad died, and when my mother was there after Jane died, and it was certainly there after Mom died. A house is not a home. My mother would say that. How many of us have heard that? A house is a living place where people live. So when I would go there, most often it didn't feel like a home. In a way, it felt very much like a tomb, place of the dead. Then in 2 consecutive years, you remember them, 2012 and 2013, hurricanes came to Long Island, and I headed north to ride out the storms there. The first time, some effects of the storm were felt there, but little of Superstorm Sandy reached that far north. Each time I spent 4 or 5 days there alone. No holidays or house guests in the way. And a funny thing happened. An element of home began to return to the house. It was once again a place of refuge, not merely to visit. In those few days, I was sheltered not only by the walls and the roof, but by the memories of what that house had seen, but also by the sense of safety and security it had been for me for so much of my life. It was the place to which I'd been brought home from the hospital after I was born, where the bus picked me up for my first day of school, where my confirmation party was held, and where I celebrated my graduation from high school and college. The day of my ordination began and ended there. Memories of these and so many other occasions, both singular and recurring, are, for me, embedded in that place. Because of these, it's not really a place of the dead. because I yet live in possession of them. It's a place of living memory, even if sometimes these are frozen in time. Or just frozen. My parents, born in the 1920s, never fully made peace with modern technology. My father never really knew the personal computer. He was barely comfortable with the telephone. For years, my mother dialed long-distance calls for him. My mother loved computer games. She made much use of email and did some computer shopping. Lots of computer shopping. She never quite comprehended Facebook, though. Neither of them ever was comfortable with ATMs. So to ensure ready access to cash, they always kept some at hand, hidden away. Dad had squirreled some $3,000 away in a secret hiding place, which he revealed to my incredulous sister and mother a month or so before his death. To my surprise, about 3 years ago, hidden in the kitchen freezer, when after a malfunction of the ice maker I had to empty and defrost it, I found a packet labeled flat bacon, and in it, nearly $1,000. Coincidentally, that amount covered most of the costs of a new furnace a few weeks later. A bit of treasure, frozen in time, had come to the rescue. This year, another treasure, once again frozen, was revealed. I finally completed the emptying of the big basement freezer. Most of the stuff got tossed, long past its shelf life since Mom was 6 years in the grave. But a single box contained a couple dozen homemade chocolate chip cookies. A plastic time capsule of love. Mom was a pretty good baker. She really only made cookies in preparation for the Christmas season, usually of several kinds. And sometimes they would last beyond it. Some would become holiday gifts, others shared and enjoyed by the family. And she had brought some with her to Long Island that last Christmas. These must have been stored away for her return. I ate some when I found them in September. I had to see if they were salvageable after all. They were still good. So I resolved to save the rest for my Christmas sojourn. Though I wasn't there for Thanksgiving, on the first Sunday of Advent, I headed north to put up some decorations and the tree in the living room. I hadn't last year because I wasn't going to be there over Christmas. But I always felt I'd let the ghosts down. Once again, the tree would come to life each night of Advent to say, "This is a living home." And it was there waiting when I arrived the day after Christmas, as if to say, "Welcome." The lights switched on just moments after I walked through the door. I removed the plastic treasure chest from where I'd stowed it in the kitchen freezer, and when I returned from Christmas dinner and sharing with my first cousins, I settled down in front of the tree, the cup of tea, and a plate full of those ghosts of Christmas past. I doubt if I will ever receive such an unexpected, welcome, and memorable Christmas gift again. But who knows? Ebenezer Scrooge reminds us that the ghosts of Christmas can do whatever they like. Merry Christmas, Mama. Merry Christmas, Jane. Merry Christmas, Papa. Merry Christmas, House. And a Happy New Year to you all. 2025 footnote. Over the last several years, some of the furnishings disappeared, transported to my new home here in Connecticut. And there will be no more greetings to the house, Christmas or otherwise. I sold it this August. New memories will now be formed there by someone else. May they be as rich for the new owner.